much. Our prayers, ladies and gentlemen, friends of the Indonesia Project. Thank you for having us here today. It's always a great pleasure, especially a great pleasure for me because I haven't been to visit CSIS since it moved into this wonderful new building. I remember the old building very fondly. We had very many wonderful seminars there, but it seems like an awfully long time ago, so it's great to be back. Budi Resto Sudamo has asked me to come along and basically deliver an announcement on his behalf, and that is about this ANU Indonesia Project Endowment Fund. As the discussion today has more or less revealed, ANU actually hosts what we think of as the greatest concentration of academic Indonesians anywhere in the world outside of Indonesia, and not of course just in economics but also in other fields like anthropology, political science, international relations, history, and linguistics. I'm sorry if I let somebody up at least. So ANU has an unparalleled network of contacts at the highest levels of Indonesian society, not least because of the ANU's role in providing training for earlier generations of postgraduate students in all of these fields. And our particular part of that, the Indonesia Project, has provided the focus for academic study of the Indonesian economy for the last 50 years. It's really quite a remarkable number. Can you go back 50 years? A lot of you here didn't even exist 50 years ago. But to imagine that somebody would have that idea, wouldn't it be good for Australians to study Indonesia? Because Indonesia is almost our closest neighbour, it's a very big country, and it's bound to be very important to our future, so wouldn't it be good to study it? And to imagine that idea not only was brought to fruition, but it has kept on keeping on for the next, or for the last 50 years. Welcome to our country. Nevertheless, although we have managed to sustain that effort over half a century, we do feel that we can't take the success or the continuation of that success for granted into the future. In particular, it's evident that there is less willingness on the part of Australian governments to continue to fund universities at the same level as they have in the past. And so we frankly worry about our future if we don't take a fairly proactive stance in relation to funding. So in response to that challenge, we are intending to endow a chair in Indonesian economic studies within the Indonesia Project in the hope that we can ensure that ANU's proud history of the study of Indonesia will be able to be maintained, as a couple of previous speakers have said, for at least the next 50 years. If we can score a century, that really will be an achievement. Now, the kind of research that we've been doing probably serves at least two important objectives, maybe more, but the two that I want to focus on are, firstly, we are now in a position where we can augment Indonesia's own research efforts in relation to its development challenges. And second, we're in the position to help to inform not only the Australian people and the Indonesian people, but indeed the whole world about Indonesia's problems and the progress that it's making in the face of those problems. I guess having written that slide with those 2 points on it, I think there's a third point that's very important that I should have added, and that is we have been very active in recent years, as previous speakers have just been saying, in helping to train new upcoming generations of Indonesian students at the PhD level, and several of those, many of those students are now occupying high-level positions in government and in academia here. So I think it's great that we've been able to do that, as Chris has said, we've helped Indonesia in that way, but we've also learned an awful lot ourselves in the process. Anyway, what we want to do, by the way of ensuring that we do keep going for at least another 50 years, is we're starting up a campaign to secure contributions from the private sector, both in Indonesia and Australia. And those contributions, we hope will be sufficiently large to be able to create this endowment fund to provide that ongoing share in the study of Indonesian economics. We've already accumulated seed money of about $250,000. Only cheap Australian dollars, I might say, not expensive American ones, but nevertheless, $250,000 is quite a lot to get this campaign started. So we have always valued the support from all of our friends and colleagues in Indonesia. We welcome the continuation of that support. We especially welcome contributions and suggestions on opportunities for obtaining such contributions from the private sector. And for those of you who might have an interest in that or know of people who would have an interest in supporting that effort, I would invite you to be in contact with Dr. Rizzo, head of the Indonesia project. The contact details are there. If you've got your binoculars and you can read the slides, otherwise, please let them please approach us and we can put you in contact with him. Again, terima kasih banyak.